Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Business Spotlight. I'm here with Dave Millea from Unit 9 Collective in Harrogate. How you doing, Dave?
I'm well, thank you, Mike. Nice to see you and join you today.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks very much for being here. So, as always, if we can kick off with a bit more background as to who you are, what is it you do, how long you've been doing it for, please, Dave.
Dave Millea, I'm a co-founder at Unit 9 Collective Gym, where we run classes, offer membership base. We also offer space for PTs to come and do their work, and we offer events also, or space to have your events.
Awesome.
Um, I've been in the industry for 20 odd years now, which seems like a long time when you say that out loud. Um, but pretty much since I left school, I went to college at Harrogate and knew that I wanted to get into coaching in some way, shape, or form. And PT was just a part of that journey.
Excellent. So, your kind of foray into Unit 9 Collective, tell us a little bit about that journey from where you were, what you were doing
Mm.
before, and how you've come to, be in a new business.
Yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind, I must admit. It all happened very quickly. But my co-founder, Lindsay Wells, and I were working out of a unit, which is actually just 2 units down the way, so on the same estate as us, through a colleague and friend called James Knox. He'd opened up his own space. Um, and at the turn of the year, there was room available to maybe create my own studio within his gymnasium. But one reason or another, he was ready to kind of take a step back from owning the gym, and actually offered myself and Lindsay the opportunity to take over the gym, and kind of create our own space and stamp on it. So that was in January, and by April we'd moved everything in, and that kicked off Unit 9.
Fantastic. So it's very fresh in terms of the
Yes.
commitment on a building and
Yeah.
I suppose developing a new business. What's that journey been like to date? Not obviously we speak to people who are at various stages of their business, but for
Mm.
you, as it's kind of fresh in your mind, I guess, as to
Mhm.
starting this venture,
Mhm.
how's it been over the last few weeks?
Um, it, I don't say chaotic, maybe
Yeah,
organized chaos is probably the
yeah,
better
yeah.
way to describe it. But I think the great thing that I found with Lindsay is that we were kind of always on the same page with where we wanted to take the gym and how the gym looked.
Yeah.
For me personally, that's because I've probably tried it in a couple of other units over the last 5 or 6 years. So I'd had a really good idea of what would work
Mhm.
financially as a viable
Yeah.
business, but then also what would create a community.
Mhm.
And the conversations that Lindsay and I had were both singing on the sort of the same hymn sheet. So that bit, and I know it maybe sounds a little bit cliche, but that bit was actually pretty straightforward and easy-ish.
Yeah.
I'll say easy-ish,
Yeah.
um, because we both knew that the way the gym would function properly is to build a membership and create an atmosphere that people want to come and train in and feel like they're safe to train in and confident to train in.
Brilliant. So it sounds like a natural progression from, what you've been doing. You've
Yeah.
got an understanding of the business model, a vision of what you'd like to create. You've got a co-founder there as well that you can rely on. I assuming there, but in terms of
Yeah.
experience together and what you've just described as to um, how it felt right to go into business together on it. Um, so what does the future hold then for you guys? What are your plans? What are your challenges? What are your things that you're looking forward to?
Um, I think every challenge you've got to look forward to. So I'm
Yeah,
saying that as like a positive
great
standpoint. Not
attitude.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not fearing any challenges, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a few bumps along the way. But the membership base and our timetable is what we want to try and keep growing. So currently on that timetable, we have 25 classes that run from Monday through to Friday. They're very sort of morning based. So the first one's at 6:30, and then we have a lunchtime lifting class which starts at 12:30, and then the others are in between that time space. So we'd like to get to a stage where we can maybe start to offer some evening classes. But we just wanted to build a base to start with and get plenty of feedback from the existing client base as to what they feel works, and even what they may want to do more of or less of per se. So I think that's the exciting thing with the building as it is everything is ongoing, and everything is slightly adjustable and should evolve, whether that's on a weekly basis or, you know, a monthly basis, a yearly framework. Then we're kind of open to working with that. Events is quite a big thing that we'd like to do a bit more of. We've got like a really lovely studio space upstairs where people can host meetings or yoga days or retreat days. That would be something that we're excited to explore more. And the gym space downstairs is big enough for trainers to come and do similar things over a weekend, whether that's courses or big circuit sessions and so on. So
sounds like a networking partnership, or, you know, spreading the word through networking and getting other partners in would be a great way to help with that. Is that the case?
Yeah, hugely. I think we're quite blessed in Harrogate in particular with the level of trainers and groups of PTs that are around the area. And there's a few of the larger gyms that do big events where the other gyms all jump on board and kind of take part in big workouts and charity events. And we would like to be part of that community and try and be able to add our bit to it and grow it in some way. We're lucky we've got a really good space to be able to do that with. And even though they wouldn't suggest that the other guys are competition as such, but we're all trying to do the same thing, which is help people to be fit and healthy. So we would love to be part of that and bring more fitness world together, really.
Excellent. Yeah, it's not like contributing to the wider community through to doing what you guys do. So in the kind of time that's setting up the business, but also, you know, from your time previously as well, what would you say, reflecting on yourself now, is the biggest lesson that you've learnt to date with your business journey through doing what you do?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a journey in that I think when I got into coaching, when I went self-employed, I didn't really pay enough attention to the business side, which I'm now happy to admit in my early 20s, that was kind of the way that I functioned. I wanted to help people and make a difference, but I didn't learn enough or take the time enough to learn the business side of it, and you properly sit down and work out my costings and my ins and outs, your courses, your rent that you have to pay everywhere. So I think that's quite a tough lesson. I left a full-time role at the academy to work with a trainer who was slightly older than me at the time. So it was great in terms of experience and learning and development, but in terms of business, I was working for not very little for a lot because I didn't pay enough attention to the business side of it, which, as a coach, and I know the courses are very good nowadays at getting you to think and structure that as part of your examinations for becoming a PT. But I think it was something that I took for granted or just totally neglected. So I think it took me till I guess matured, even in my late 20s, early 30s, for me to pay more attention to the business. I feel very fortunate that I love what I do and I love training. I'm outdoors. I'm making a difference to people. But then I had to understand that it is a business and it pays for my lifestyle, my living, my home, my car, and those things I just neglected a lot in my early days. So that was a big lesson, shall we say?
Well, I say it's a common one because many people, obviously, being doing what we do, Action Coach, people setting up a business have a passion for what they do, kind of the technician, as sometimes it's called.
Yeah.
And that leading the way in terms of, well, I'm just going to go out and help people. But yeah, there's a functioning, systematic process to running a business, which is quite often totally different from doing the do of the passion of how you want to help people. But that foundation, yeah, needs to be there in order for you to be successful to live your passion.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which is definitely, luckily, the point I've got to now. Thank goodness, taking on this. But yeah, that was a steep curve, shall we say?
A biggest lesson. Would that be a piece of advice then that you'd offer you to your younger self if you were starting and say you need to be focused on this as well as that? And look at your hourly rate you mentioned there.
Pay more attention to the numbers, Dave, is what I would.
Okay, that's great. Yeah.
You know, it's all well and good that you can run fast or jump high or look a certain way or be willing to help people, but striking that balance of you running and operating a business as well as blending the PT bits. Yeah, it was that's definitely what I'd be telling myself.
And so is there a plan now at this point where you've got, your numbers forecast, what you're looking to achieve? And so you mentioned about having flexibility built into your business model, the classes, in order to, I suppose, test and measure what customers want and what they're willing to pay for and do. Is that kind of structured in a plan that you've got as a new business?
Yeah, definitely for the unit. The challenges and the one kind of stipulation that Lindsay and I both wanted were we've both got our own separate personal training businesses. So we needed to kind of protect those as well as open up the gym. So we needed to find a balanced way of us being able to still bring in our own personal income, but then also ensure that the building could function as well. So we're really lucky that we've got 10 trainers that take some of the classes for us. So the timetable is then very varied. But until we build up a slightly big enough membership base, Lindsay and I take on as much of the classes as we can. Then once the membership base ideally builds up to a point, we can then ask the guys to take on maybe a little bit more and obviously pay them accordingly. So yeah, they're a little bit younger than me, so they might have a bit more energy by that stage as well. So I don't mind just dropping back a little bit, be there as guidance and manage the building as opposed to being too hands-on with the classes. A sort of a 4 or 5 year time period and time frame would be part of that structure. Yeah.
The vision of the business of stepping back and watching it all happen in a beautiful, planned out way that you can see at this point.
It'll just work so smoothly. Absolutely fine.
Always works that way. Yeah. As you say, I think we might refer back to being open to learning lessons and challenges and things like that is the attitude to have. Brilliant. So in terms of expansion, stuff like that, is it going to be this gym? And we're talking about vision. Is there anything else that you'd like to move into or open a second premise, anything like that?
At the moment, our main focus was just the one. Because we felt like we can do so much within this unit. That would almost be our version of expansion.
Makes sense,
like the event side is going to be a really key part of that. As example, we're hosting a charity event for Yorkshire Children's Charity on the 6th of July. And the big aim for that is we're trying to raise £20,000 on the day. And it's basically a big workout where we've invited 20 teams to sort of enter and pay to take part and fundraise as a team. And the event will be on all day. So the first wave of people start at 8, and we should be finished about 8, half 8 in the evening on that Sunday. So just bringing more people to the unit, but like I say, we've got the space that we'd love to like host more of those. And then obviously create space for trainers to come and do lifting courses or nutritional programs or just mass workouts with their own clients.
Fantastic.
That's definitely one area that we want to look at and grow.
Brilliant. Sounds like the space has got the opportunity to fulfill your ambition.
Yes, it certainly does. You should come and
Nice.
join us for a workout one day,
Yeah.
Mike.
You might not see me in a gym, maybe outside on a bike, something like that. But
Okay,
I could be converted,
that's
ultimately
good.
back to the open-mindedness of things. And
Yeah,
and when we're nearby, yeah, I'll definitely pop in and see what's going on. We'll keep in touch
excellent.
with the charity events and things like that as well.
Mm,
It's always good to connect on local events happening.
yeah.
Um, in terms of your inspiration, then, Dave, I
Mm.
can sort of maybe guess, but in your own words about why you do what you do, what kind of gets you out of bed of a morning,
Mhm.
uh, would it be the clients, the people that you work with, doing it for, your own self or your family? What is it for you that kind of, yeah, keeps
Um,
doing what you're doing?
I'm really lucky that I get the chance to work with such a varied range of individuals.
Mhm.
My career has taken me to Paralympics last year, which was an incredible event.
Awesome.
And then I've been lucky enough to work with Olympic athletes for 2012, the London 2012.
Yeah.
I was involved in some work up to that. And then on the other end, I've also worked with a lot of elderly individuals who have either been seriously ill or rehabbing or
Mhm.
just want to try and get the best quality out of their lives. And their that variation creates the inspiration, if that makes a
Sure.
little bit of sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And then even the clients and I don't mean to call them average gym goers because they're far from it, but as a
Yeah.
regular trainers who come in maybe 3 or 4 times a week, those guys as well. I think when people show you that level of commitment and follow your ideas and views of training, that's more than enough of a reason to kind of get out of bed on a morning
Brilliant.
day, without a doubt.
Excellent.
Um,
Very, very satisfying.
yeah, I think when I first got into the industry, actually, my dad was probably my inspiration at that point.
Hmm.
He was an instructor at the academy at the time when I was 13, 14 years old and was just in cleaning down there.
Yeah, yeah.
And he pointed me in the direction of looking at going into gym work and becoming a trainer. So to see him doing it on a full-time basis all those years ago now, to then being almost to take over and step into his shoes at that stage, that definitely gave me something to lean and fire towards,
Excellent.
which I
This
needed
is-
at that age, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a lot of purpose-driven intent there by the sounds of it. So that's awesome. Thank you for that share. Appreciate you reflecting on that. So then lastly, before we wrap it up, as always, if there's any latest news about, I mean, you've shared, what you're up to with
Mhm.
the ambitions for the gym, the charity event, if there's anything else, or even if it's just a case of sharing your website, finding out where people can find you and yeah, check out what you're doing, feel free to do that now.
Yeah, great. You'll find us at Unit 9 Collective. If you punch that into Google, we should come up in the search there. And that has all the information on all the classes, all the instructors that we have down here as well, who not only cover the classes, but they all are all PTs within their own right. So there's a little bit there for everybody to kind of jump on board of.
Okay.
Yeah, events, the big children's charity event, the Yorkshire Children's one we've got in July. That's our big focus for this year. And then any of our social pages, Unit 9 on Instagram, Unit 9 Collective, sorry, on Instagram. That is looked after extremely well by Lindsay. So we all get daily reminders of everything that's going on. And it's usually through there that you'll find more information.
Brilliant. We'll put a couple of links on the video that we share so people can check it out that way as well. Dave, it's been a real pleasure talking with you. Thank you for sharing all that you have. And yes, sincere kind of regards with regards to the future of the business and all the best. I wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate the time.